Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I uploaded a video. I've been really distracted with other things, but today we're going to be looking at a food from a mobile game, which I rarely do actually. The mobile game is Last Cloudia, which I originally saw through Crunchyroll ad, and I do think it's like a Crunchyroll game. But basically, it's kind of like Final Fantasy-ish. When I was playing it, I saw a bunch of food items on there, and one of them really caught my attention because it was something I wanted to do for a long time, and that is stuffing a chicken wing with like rice or meat or something, because I've seen it on documentaries, I've seen it in shows and animes, so I've always wanted to try it myself, and I thought this would be a really good reason I thought this would be a really good excuse to kind of just play with it. So the picture of the food and the item itself doesn't really tell us anything, so I'm kind of like going completely in the dark here and just doing everything from what I think would taste good. I'm kind of just winging it the whole time.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
It looks like a stuffed chicken wing, either fried or like braised in some sort of like dark liquid because it is pretty browned, and there's some sort of like creamy stew or soup filled with potatoes and carrots. It'll be my first time deboning a chicken wing and stuffing it, so that'll also be something that I have to learn this episode, and hopefully it goes well enough that we get a good finished product. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is debone our chicken wings to make room for our stuffing later. Find where the joint between the drumette and the wingette meet. Break that joint and then take a knife to remove the drumette. Try not to remove too much skin from the wingette portion. Using a small knife, separate the meat and tendons from the bone as much as possible, then twist the bones to remove it from the joints and pull out. You can discard the bones, but I'm keeping them for a future video, so make sure to keep tuned for that. And there you have it, the drumette, the deboned wing, and wing bones. I want to stuff the chicken with something. There is no mention of the chicken in the picture being stuffed or anything, but it just looks so enlarged where like I feel like it has to be stuffed. So I'm gonna stuff it with tomato rice that has also been with sauteed mushrooms and carrots. If you don't know what tomato rice is, it was trending for a while last year, I think 2019. Basically you just take some uncooked rice here. I got uncooked rice washed as well, really well. Then you want to take just a tomato and you take the core out already and you place it down so that it's facing downwards. You take some olive oil, you just drizzle a little bit of olive oil in, not too much, and then some black pepper. Normally I would salt this as well, but I'm going to salt the mushrooms and carrots that I'm going to be sauteing later, which will be added into the rice. So I'm not trying to make it too salty. But the basic concept of this is like the juice from tomato, as it's getting steam, will get into the rice and basically infuse the rice with a bunch of flavor. So bring this over to the rice cooker and just set it and forget it. So I'm just roughly chopping some mushrooms here. They don't need to be like finely minced or anything because we are just sticking them inside the chicken after sauteing them. So it's not like anyone's really gonna be seeing these mushrooms. But you do want to keep them relatively small because we don't have a lot of space inside the chicken wing. So we can't be having too big of a sizes. So you can also just like quickly run your knife through them as well. We really don't care how they look right now. Alright, for the carrot, you want to cut them up about the same size as the mushrooms that you cut. So just like julienne them first, like a really rough, like I said, like this is a rough cut because we're not really trying to impress anyone with this because it's just going inside the chicken. But you want to julienne them first, and then from there just chop them up in smaller pieces. Oops, just like that. and do about the same for all of them. Alternatively, I could just put this in a food processor. That would work too. But I don't have a food processor in this kitchen because I never thought I needed to buy a new one when I moved over here. So I'm doing everything manually. But if you have a food processor, this would probably help and probably would be a lot faster than my method. Now that we're done chopping up our carrots and mushrooms, we're gonna take a pan, preheat it to medium-high heat, fill it with some oil, and then just saute these for a few minutes. The carrots probably would take about 3 to 4 minutes, and then the mushrooms probably a bit less, but not enough where you can't add them separately. I'm not trying to overcook them because they are going inside chicken. They are going inside the chicken and then being cooked some more. So we're just trying to soften up, add a little flavor, add a little more flavor. So once you got them in there, make sure you salt them. And black pepper. After a few minutes, once it becomes soft, turn it down to medium heat and just add a little bit of butter. And just melt the butter a bit and then you're done. The butter's going to add a nice richness to these vegetables and the filling inside. And really play with the acidity of the tomato rice, because tomato is going to be such a heavy flavor going in because we basically just steam the rice with the tomato. So we want a bit of richness, but a little bit of acidity. Once this is done, set it aside and let it cool down because we want it to completely cool down before we try adding it to the rice and then into the chicken. Okay, now over here we got, in my rice cooker, we have the tomato rice with the rice. As of right now, it's not real. You have to really incorporate it in there. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm actually gonna do this in a different bowl. Hold up. Alright, so there's the tomato rice after we mixed it all up. You can see how the tomato infused with the rice, causing it to be red. And we still have chunks of the tomatoes in it. So we're gonna add our mushrooms. We're gonna add our mushroom and carrots into this and then just let it all cool down. And then once it's cooled down to about room temperature, we're gonna try stuffing our chicken with it. Alright, now we're going to stuff these chicken with the rice. I practiced with one already, so it didn't seem that bad, but now see if I can get, I'm making 4. See if I can get all 4 of them. We just take a spoonful of the rice, spoonful or 2. Basically just shove it in, just shove it right in there. And then press it all the way to the bottom where the wingtip bones are. So you want to stuff it as much as possible. Don't want too much sticking out. Normally, now ideally, you would get like a skewer or like one of those like cooking toothpick things, and you would basically sew it up, right? Yeah, I forgot to buy that. So, and it's like kind of late over here, so nothing's open. So, we're gonna try to do this without the skewers. And I'm just gonna push it as deep as possible, right? As deep as possible, and just kind of be like, shh, go to sleep, shh. Yeah, that's the professional method right there. Okay, 2 done. Let's get this one. So some of them, when I was like deboning them, I had to cut a good amount to get the bone removed. And so hopefully, oh shoot. please leave in the comments if there's a better way to do this. Like, just please tell me if there's a better way to do this. I feel like I'm struggling too much. Also, this one is like refusing. Maybe I should use my fingers. Yeah, we're just gonna, oh wow, not even went in. Look at that. This is probably not, if you were hungry before this, you're probably not hungry anymore. Okay, and then we just go shh. All right, we need one more. Honestly, I think my first one was my best one. I'll never be able to recreate it. It was definitely my best one. And you're gonna probably, if you make this recipe, you're probably gonna have a lot of extra rice left over. You could like fry up like a steak or some pork chops. Oh, that would be so good with this. Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. And this is why you want to cool down the rice mixture, because, you know, if it was hot, I wouldn't be able to do this right now. All right, nice. I'm gonna shut that up. Perfect, there's 4. Let's move back over to the saucepan. Okay, got the saucepan, preheating it on medium-high heat with some oil. You're gonna stick them in. Ow. So you want to fry them for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and then once that, and then so 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and then we're gonna braise it with like a kind of like a sweet soy. So for this part, I actually didn't talk on camera because I had to turn on the fan. But basically, you want to fry the chicken about 4 to 5 minutes on each side until the skin is crispy. Then flip it over and fry for another 4 to 5 minutes. I put a lid on my pan right here because I have a sensitive smoke alarm and I didn't want it to go off. Here I added a mixture of soy sauce, garlic, black pepper, and honey to braise the chicken for about 8 to 10 minutes. In the picture, it seems to be some sort of cream-based soup or curry, and the only 2 prominent ingredients that I can see in it are potatoes and carrots. So we're going to start with 2 peeled potatoes. And then the potatoes are pretty big in the picture, so we're just going to do about 1-inch pieces. Not really counting, and they are like really roughly chopped. So I'm just gonna go with like some 1-inch pieces. Nice. About 1 inches. In the image, I am assuming these are carrots. The red pieces in the picture are carrots, but They could also be red potatoes, like skin on red potatoes. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to assume just like big chunks of carrots because that seems to make a little bit more sense. And also I don't have any red potatoes and I have carrots, so I don't want to go out and buy more red potatoes. I'm just gonna use carrots because that's what I have on hand, so we'll go with that. So I went and peeled my carrots. I think we're just gonna go like medium sized chunks, maybe like half an inch, like that. Personally, I don't like huge chunks of carrots. I'm gonna keep them about the same size. No, JK, more like half the size of my potato chunks. Just like that. Just nice chunks of carrot that are gonna hopefully turn out well. So the picture and description didn't mention anything about onions, but I feel like any good curry or soup should have onions as it's part of its base. So we're just gonna add in some slices of onions in there just to add in some flavor and some, you know. So I'm just gonna quickly slice up these onions. I'm not really gonna dice them. I prefer to have them in rings to really like match with the like roughness of the soup with giant chunks of potato and carrot. So we're just gonna do onion slices, keep it real simple. Not trying to go too fancy with any dicey or anything because I feel like we're trying to keep with the fact that it's just kind of like a slapdash mixture of vegetables to create this curry where the chicken is the main star. Back over the stove, we got a pot and add in a little bit of oil, and we're gonna begin by sauteing our onions. You want to saute the onions just until they're about translucent. So probably 2 minutes with the amount I got right now. Once the onions are translucent, we're going to add in the coconut milk. Just a whole can of coconut milk. Make sure to scrape out all the sides. You want to bring this up to a boil, but while you are doing that, we're going to season it with a bit of garam masala, turmeric, garlic powder, and salt. And stir all that in. It adds some color. Maybe a little too much color. And then you want to add in the potatoes and carrots from earlier. Stir them up and make sure the potatoes get nice and incorporated because their starch is what's gonna thicken up this curry or soup. It's basically the curry at this point. So then once you got everything incorporated, you wanna cover it, bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Alright, so my chicken piece wasn't as big as the one in the picture, but it's really close. I would say it's really similar to the final product. There's the chicken, braised in some soy sauce afterwards. My coconut, basically coconut curry, coconut soup. And yeah, the rice didn't fall out as much. Like, see, you can see where it like opened, but it didn't fall out that much, which is really nice. I thought it would just completely all fall out once I stuck it in the pan and the meat would start to shrink, but it didn't fall out. I would say overall, success.